Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. After the election, the 10-year treasury yield hit 2% for the first time in 11 months. Also, we want to know what's going on with the Dakota pipeline. Investor Carl Icahn bought $1 billion in stocks during the Trump crash. But first, will President Obama trash this economy on his way out along with pardons, regulations, and executive orders? When you have 2 months left, every president does it. They start pardoning people. They let their friends out of jail. They do executive orders.
He's already been doing that. I mean, you make it sound like it's something.
Yeah, he has. But now you're going to see it sped up on steroids, I think.
I question it for this reason. I think Obama will do what he thinks is in his best interest, and I think he's already looking at his wife running.
2020?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think he's going to do anything crazy that's going to work against him. I think whatever he'll do is long-term foundation laying. Nothing suddenly where he's going to be angry and do crazy things. Because then
you don't think so?
No, I don't. It's my opinion.
He's going to hand over the reins peacefully. Everything's going to just transition nicely and.
Well, what you're suggesting is you're going to do things that are going to get a lot of people annoyed and angry with him.
You don't think so?
No. What would be the look? The one thing
because he already has a disdain for the people and the country.
I know, but I know enough.
And now he's even got more of one because of what just happened.
That is true, but the point is he's not enraged by it. He's a clever guy and say what's in my personal best interest, and in personal best interest is not to do things that are going to aggravate people even more.
What do you make of Carl Icahn buying $1 billion in stocks during the Trump crash? Well, it was on the futures. It wasn't on the actual trading floor. It was on the futures. It went down 800.
Well, that's the smartest thing in the world. Why do you think he's a multi-billionaire? Because he's making good decisions. It's no great shakes.
And he did that under the cover of night because it wasn't. It was 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night on the East Coast when that decision
when I was
made.
watching, I knew it was happening because that's how the guy makes. That's how millionaires become billionaires, and he's one of the best.
And that is one of Trump's economic advisors.
Oh, he came out for Trump early in the game. But there's no question. I mean, when the Dow Jones Industrial Average Futures was down 800 points, he got in there with both hands, for God's sake. What?
And it bounced right back. I mean, we're going to see some volatility anyways, like we always do. But paging Mark Cuban, it didn't crash the way some of these guys had said it was going to.
You mentioned a name that I find disdainful, disgusting, and
despicable,
and idiotic. What he had one company, sold it for $5 billion, and now he's acting like
back in the .com days.
Yeah, he's the chief of the world. An idiot, and not even worthy of our discussion, frankly.
So, what do you think President Trump brings to the tax code, to the economics of the country? The trade.
I think he made a lot of statements which he isn't going to follow through on. I think the whole idea of, my biggest fear is bringing back Smoot-Hawley, which means cutting back on trade unless you get something in return.
Protectionism, tariffs.
That's what started the Big Depression in this country in 1929 and then followed in Europe. I think he's going to be very thoughtful about what he does. He's not going to be slow. He's going to be very thoughtful, and he's going to go for the big deal first. And I think the big deal is he knows what do the people really want, what is hurting the people more than anything else. And right now it's the insurance situation. That's number one. I think number two, he's going to do something about the Supreme Court to fill in the ninth person, Scalia's successor. I think that he'll make that happen before the end of the year.
And as far as tax structure, cut the corporate income tax, repatriating some of that money that's overseas that we're not seeing.
I don't think he's going to go down to 15. I think that's too much from 35 to 15. I think that's.
Where should it be? 20, 21? 18?
I can't put 35 is too much, and
15 is too low?
It was a good reason for companies to leave the country. But I say let's say he goes down from 35 to 25, okay? But we're talking numbers here. The important thing is to get that money back. We've got $1.5 trillion sitting around American companies' money.
Ireland and other places.
Make a 10% deal out of it. You know, the only time that happened was in 2003 and 2004 when George W. Bush and Congress gave him 6 months to bring back, and they brought back about $300 billion. It's a huge amount of money. But then they didn't do anything to follow up. If he were very smart, and he is, I would first of all do that as one of the primary things that he does between now and the end of the year, and says, okay, here's a deal to get the money back. He has to do that too, because what's staring him in the face right now, and all of us.
Interest rate hike?
No, forget about the interest rate hike. The big thing is we can't stand a $20 trillion debt. You know, we're lucky right now that the interest rates are at rock bottom. But can you imagine once you mentioned the 2% on 10-year, what if that goes to 5%? We would, the money coming in the tax money coming in would be paying the interest on the treasury debt.
Don't you think they have to start making movement on the interest rate?
Well,
I mean, it's been held so low for so long.
Well, yeah, but in the meantime, what's happened? You've had reverse interest rates in Europe, which is even worse.
Negative interest rates.
Yeah, so I mean, even us doing nothing makes us look like we're doing something more positive. I think they'll have a 0.25% increase in December, a nominal 0.25% increase to get things going, and that's what everybody's expecting.
0.25%. And you don't think that affects the job situation, employment, housing, any of these other sectors?
No, a 0.25% is what most companies are already expecting anyway. I think the problem.
So that's what they're planning for.
You know, ever since our current chairman of the Federal Reserve Board came in, I don't know what she's doing, frankly. I don't understand. She's listening to the board, and I don't know what the board is saying. I think right now they're afraid to make a move, and they were afraid to make a move before the election. So I think just nominally, just to show that they're doing something, they'll do the same thing they did a year ago.
Now, candidate Trump was talking about tariffs on Chinese goods and getting them to stop manipulating their currency. Do you think that was just candidate Trump, or do you think he's really going to try and follow through with some of that stuff?
I think half and half. I think he'll start taking a tough position on the Pacific Trade Agreement, which this is one thing, by the way, I think Obama may try to push through. When you said, you know, we're doing something before he leaves, that's the one thing I think he's going to try to push through. I don't think Trump is going to do anything dramatic between now and inauguration time. I think he will very intelligently and analytically set his stage for what he's going to do. I think what you're going to see from Trump is intelligent and logical action.
And he's got some really, really classy, smart, well-rounded guys that he could put into positions. You start thinking about Giuliani, Christie, Ben Carson. Maybe he gets into the Obamacare situation. You got some really sharp people out there that are willing to come back.
Here's my prediction. You're going to see a transformation into a man who is going to be talking much differently than he did when he was, you know, this idea of narcissism, this idea of trying to show. I think that worked against him. He was an entertainer, and maybe the fact that he was an entertainer got him well known. Now,
Well, You say he's an entertainer because he had a television show, but I mean,
No,
the guy's a businessman.
No. He was an entertainer by the way he spoke and the people wanted to see and hear. That's gone. He knows now that he's the boss. He has fulfilled that basic objective. He knows that he is now a man of history. Will he be another Franklin Delano Roosevelt? Will he be another Abraham Lincoln? Will he be a man of that type of stature? Or will he be, I think he's thinking now in terms of how he's going to be recognized in the future. He's got plenty of problems on the table to resolve.
Do you think this is a boon to fracking, to coal, to some of the other oil industry related products?
Let me put it this way. I think he's going to go after, he's not only going to go after the insurance problem, he's going to have to go after Dodd-Frank and the EPA. He's going to cut the, off. The EPA is the closest thing to an American Gestapo as I've ever seen.
And do you think this is bad news for the climate people? The solar.
I think it's a death knell.
We need to take a quick break. You can follow Maury on Twitter now at mbeshlos. To all our Facebook followers, make sure you click on the links and make sure you share our videos on all your social media platforms. Our global outlook, straight ahead.